Hi guys, welcome back to the Non-Immigrant Student Podcast. I'm here again. My name is Tolu. If you're new here, my name is Tolulope Olukanmi. I'm your host, and this is season 2, episode 11. And today's topic is landing a job at McKinsey and Google with Grace, Imanariyo, and me, of course. So today I'm also a guest on this podcast because I and Grace have decided to share our stories, our job hunting stories. For me, mine, I really don't have much to mine, but we'll find out. Maybe I do have a story to tell. But anyway, so this season 2 has been the longest season I've ever done. For most of you who have been here from the start, I know you're pretty much probably offended that I've been AWOL for a long time. But I'm back now, and I guess that's all that matters. This is the second episode I'm recording this year before I go into season 3. So I want this particular episode to wrap up season 2 because season 2 has been while I was still in school, bringing on my friends who came here to school. Most of those people who have interviewed on this podcast now have jobs, and now I also have a job. Woohoo! Insert standing ovation for Jesus. And so my next season 3, this is like a preamble. I want my season 3 to be about my career, my faith, and probably the rich auntie lifestyle God has finally brought me into. Amen. Can I get an amen, Grace? Amen. And has brought us into. So guys, without much further ado, let's jump into it. So before I introduce myself, I would like Grace to introduce herself. For most of you who already follow the Non-Immigrant Student Instagram page, you all know Grace. I have people telling me, how is Grace? Like calling her. You guys are even on a first name basis with her because you guys see her on a lot of my stories and on posts. So I'll let her introduce herself. So Grace, can you tell us who you are and what the Lord has done for you?
Hey, thank you, Tolu, for having me. Hi, everybody. I'm so happy to be here. Mm-hmm. My name is Grace Imanariyo, and I am born and raised from Rwanda. Mm-hmm. In Kigali, so my country. A lot of people say Rwanda.
Yeah,
it's actually Rwanda. And I'm also a student here at Cornell University, graduating.
Yes, girl. Yes.
Graduating in less than 7 days.
Yeah.
And I was also doing the same program as Tolu, the engineering management, and I am the last born in my family, but a lot of people don't say that I give last born vibes. Am I right, Tolu?
Yes, girl. No, okay. Let's let you have that. Yeah, she's the last of 4 girls. I'm the first of 5 girls.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I did my undergrad here in the U.S., and I did my undergrad in Pennsylvania, where I was pursuing the computer science program, and I was minoring in. I had 2 minors doing mathematics and innovation and entrepreneurship. This is pretty much a long intro, but yeah. But I'm so glad to be here. Yeah. Tolu is one of my besties.
Yes, girl.
Hey. My Niger queen.
Yes. So thank you, Grace, for that introduction. And also, I always ask my guests to recount how we met. But before we get into that, I also want to tell them what I know about you. So a fun fact is that both of us were born on the same day, same time, same year. Well, the time is arguable because I was born on 5 p.m. on a Good Friday in 1996. And when we checked, she checked with her mom. Her mom was like, yes, you were born at 5 p.m. But it's still so surreal to believe. So we just keep it that we were born on the same day and same year. Same year. I remember the day we found our friend Beryl, shout out to our Ghanaian sister Beryl. She was videoing us. I would post that video one day, but I looked too ratchet in that video. And you should have seen me. I was like, no, bring your passports. Let's check our passport. And then we brought our passports and we saw we're actually born on the same day. So we turned 26 about a month ago. Yeah. I never posted those pictures, but I will because there's a particular post where we were, before we blew out our candles on cake, where we asked, where we wished for 6-figure jobs. Hey. Not that candles grant answers to prayers, no. But you know what I mean, you know? So, no. So yeah, I will share that someday. And yes, also Grace, in her humble self, forgot to tell us that her GPA is 4.1. You know, I will keep singing this. I'll be 4.2. She broke the scale, guys. So for those of you that don't know, in an Ivy League university, our grading system is over 4.3 rather than over 4.0 because like our A plus is like 97 to 100, A is 93 to 96, and A minus is 90 to 93. So that's a pretty ambitious grading system. And before me, in my presence, I have someone who has gone above 4.0. Guys, do you have friends like that? Do you? Show yourselves. If you do, nobody can stand by me. I have a friend that's 4.1. Please don't ask me what's my own GPA. It doesn't matter. but I'm so proud of her. And also, something else Grace didn't say, she is a musician. So, in short, I think she's a multi-potentialite, multi-talented. But, she's just here wearing her red sweater, acting like she doesn't know who she is. Anyway, she's a drummer. She's a keyboardist. She sings. Like, guys, she has over 7K views on her YouTube video. Someday she plans to host concerts in different countries. You guys pull up when that time comes. Yes. And also, Grace loves Nigerian movies. Yes. Can you guys believe that she has watched? I think she knows the only movie she hasn't watched on Netflix. Which ones?
Olukanmi and
Swallow.
But the only ones have not watched.
You guys, when Blood Sisters came out, Grace made me. So she was at my house that night. She made me watch it with her till 4 a.m. Guys, although she's lucky that it was a good one. I was really waiting for them to disappoint me. And funny enough, those people, shout out to the whole cast and crew of Blood Sisters. Yes, it was good. And then we watched it together. So Grace has rekindled my love and hope in Nollywood anyway. And yeah, so that's something about her. So now I'll ask how we met. Do you remember the first day we met?
Yes.
Okay, so share your story.
Share that. So Tolu started school in 2020, as many of you already know, but I started in the fall 2021. So I remember when I was in data analytics class.
Our worst class? Or my worst class?
Both of us worst class. And my Niger sister did not come on time. I'm sorry.
Wow.
But it was like, and then she came, surprisingly, she sat right next to me. Yeah. And I was like, are you Tolu?
No, I'm sure as a lie. I'm not talking to you first.
Ask you, are you Tolu?
Okay.
Because I was like, I'm sure this is probably Tolu. Because, no, if I tell you guys, she was one of the people who were very active in the group chat and welcoming new students, which I was like, I have to meet this person. And so after class, your girl likes pictures and I like pictures and I like to take pictures. She was like, Grace, I need to take pictures if you're not in a rush. Can you help me? Yeah, I had like a few minutes before I go to work and I was like, yeah, let's do it. And then I started taking pictures of her and taking videos of her as we were chatting and laughing. I was like, yep, this is it. This was the beginning of a long-lasting friendship.
Aww. Yes, I remember that day I just walked into class. I even wore my non-immigrant student shirt. I think I was excited that school was resuming in person after I'd been like online.
What you were wearing.
Red
shirt,
yes,
and, white and black
skirt. I remember too. And so Grace says she can't remember, but during our orientation, April 1st of 2020, just around the time the pandemic had gone into full swing, we had an orientation online with Cornell. And I had seen her name. I was like, this name definitely sounds African. There was another name too, Chloe. And shout out to you, Chloe. And I was like, okay, I know Chloe already. I had met her prior to them, but like over the phone. So I messaged Grace via the Zoom chat. I was like, hi, Grace, where are you from? Your name looks African and all that. She said she's from Rwanda. But I messaged too late. So I guess we never picked up that conversation. But I kept asking my program coordinator that there's a girl named Grace. When is she coming to the program? She kept telling me that you deferred. Because to me, I was looking forward to seeing because we're the only black girls now, that were admitted into this program at that time. But anyway, when I saw you first in class, I was like, this is another black girl in class. Let me sit beside her. And there was space beside you. And I sat. And I think we turned to each other. Whether I asked you what was the woman saying in front, go forgive me. You know me, I don't like that professor for anything. And she will now be laughing when nothing is funny. What you're teaching, we don't even understand. And you're laughing. Anyway, so before you know it, that's how we met. And then we became friends. We started going to I was at my church, and then he started to come to our church, his tabernacle as well, yada, 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 and now this is us. But before we fully kick into how we got our jobs, the path that has led us here. I shared in the formal invite I sent to you that we share the same faith. We've shared so many moments here on campus. Yes. We've shared so much fun, so many fun times, so much laughter, so much support. We've shared tears.
Yes.
We've shared. Yes, I know. We've shared so much. And I was like, wait, I think I just knew you for 2 semesters, right? But it feels like it has been longer than that. And I am grateful today. And that's one of the reasons why I'm also very nervous to record this episode. Guys, I'm scared that tears might be shed today on this episode. But because
it's in the same space.
But it's a very reflective episode. Also because we're graduating in 5 days.
Less than 7 days.
Exactly. And you're going to Boston, I'm going to New York City. Although I know that this doesn't necessarily mean, long distance relationship is what I do best. So it's not like I don't have any fear of it or anything, but it's just still a very remorseful time, just thinking about how far we've come, how Cornell has been. I still remember the day we went for a party, and shout out to Maxam and Jabs, all these Jabs party we used to go for, the Black People's Party. And then we had to do an assignment that was due or something. And for me, I have a bad habit that if I hate a class, like, I don't really care. And because I'm also someone who doesn't care too much for grades all the times, I'm like, I don't like this class. I can't do anything about it, I was just dragging my feet. And we got to the party, but Grace said, let's take our laptops. We asked the host to please let us into his room and do the assignment. I was sitting there playing around. Grace was begging me, bring out your laptop. Sometimes Grace will help bring out my computer to do my own assignment. I'm like, hey, where do they get friends like this, please? So, God, how am I just meeting her in my master's? I needed you during undergrad. She was really trying to help me, and you could see me there not even caring about the world, and all that. So thank you for being a very good support system to me during my time here. And, okay, exactly. So, okay, let's leave all that. So, tell me, what was it like growing up in Rwanda? I know you came here in 2016 for undergrad at 20.
Yes.
20, yeah. To us, that's late. Back home, that's very late to come to school. But so just tell us your story from growing up in Rwanda up until coming to the US at age 20.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of people may know the story of my country. So in 1994, there was a Rwandan genocide against the Tutsi. Mm-hmm. So I was born 6 years after that. Mm-hmm. So you see memories are still fresh. The country is still healing. Mm-hmm. Even though until this point, the country is still healing and unity is being pushed forward, of course. But I didn't know what was going on because I was just 1 or 2 years. But growing up in a country, when I started going to school, I started, because I went to a school called SOS. And I remember being with some of the students who lost their parents and who were living in an orphanage. And I was always curious, be like, how wanting to learn more. So growing up in Rwanda was very fun, but at the same time, people had to be extra careful. Even until now, people still have to be extra careful. You just can't go meet a person and be like, hey, how is your mom doing? Or you don't even know if they have a mom or if they have a dad, Yeah. So the conversations were just general. Don't do anything personal. But growing up with my sisters, I was the boy in my family. Yeah. I was a tomboy, pure tomboy. Anything with girls and dolls, I never enjoyed it. My sister is the one who wanted, hey mom, get me a doll, get me this one. All I wanted was, hey, when am I gonna get a new car, a new sword to play with?
What?
I'm serious, I really wanted to learn. I was a curious kid. My family was supportive. My school was nice. I always wanted to be the first. I was competitive.
4.1. Hey, sorry.
I was competitive, but I was also not that kind of competition where you become greedy and you are arrogant. I just, especially when things were usually known to be boys are the first one in those things. That's where I wanted to compete. Running, I'm like, how comes you're the first in class? I wanted to be the first one. So growing up like that, my parents were supportive. I also spent a lot of time in church. Growing up in Sunday school was one of the best things I've ever done. So that's when I started developing my love for music, listening to different sounds, voices. I was like, how is this voice different from this one? Yeah. But all in all, that growing up was really fun. I'm so thankful for my family. Shout out to them and all of my friends that I got to meet pretty much. Yeah.
Oh, thank you for sharing, Grace. And also, you talking about the genocide just a bit. And when I met you, you told me that Imanariyo is not your family name, apparently.
Yes.
So please, can you explain to us why everybody in your family has a different last name? How is that possible?
It's interesting because in Rwanda, some of the families, of course, take their father's name, and the family continues in that way. But for many families, when they give you a name at birth, they can give you a first and last name, just random. It doesn't mean that my mom's last name is not the same, my dad's last name is not the same, my sister's, nobody shares with me the last name, which I believe for me, I think in the future, I would want to have my kids have my future husband's last name. But in my family, for some reason, nobody has the same name, and it's common in Rwanda.
Rwanda. Interesting. Okay. And then, so I think, did you go to boarding school?
I did.
I think you said you went to boarding school in Rwanda. So what was that like?
In middle school, I went to an all-girls middle school competitive school where if you're not studying, you're sleeping. Pretty much. If you're not sleeping, you're doing work for the weekend. That's it. So it was nice. I got to meet a lot of people, a lot of friends, because my school was small. So that was nice, but I really didn't enjoy it very much. And then in high school...
Why didn't you enjoy it?
I think, so I don't know if it's this thing of growing up tomboy, there was a lot of gossip. So I never
really?
enjoyed it.
So you never had a lot of girlfriends?
No.
No,
I
really?
never enjoyed that side of drama.
That's the gateway to being a teenage girl. You need to learn to gossip. You and your friends. That's like rite of passage.
I never enjoyed it.
Wow.
That's the thing. I liked it, but even in school, I used to perform, like to sing, wearing all boys' clothes.
In an all-girls school?
In an all-girls school.
Oh, you must have been really weird.
I'm telling you, people who know me in middle school, when they see me wearing a dress, high heels, they're like, hey, God can do miracles.
Sorry, I'm just remembering what you said. So Grace too, like I've told her that she has threatened me, but of course I was like, yes, if I get married in Nigeria, of course you're going to come. Grace used to tell me that because of me, she's going to eat spicy food during my wedding. So it might not be funny now, but it's funny to me because every time she comes to my house, she cannot eat stew but now these days I start cooking jollof rice without too much pepper for her and all that. But it's so funny that you guys don't eat spicy food and now you're telling me. But okay, that's...
and then high school. So in high school, the high school I wanted to go to, it was so hard to get into. It's boarding. So the boarding part of the school was very competitive. So that's how I ended up just being a day scholar for the first 2 years. Our high school is 3 years, our middle school is 3 years.
Yes.
But from our last year, you have to do a national exam. My mom knew that I was not going to focus if I was going home. Of course, I was still passing in top 5 of my class. I was competitive.
Of course you were.
But I was like, I want to really pass this national exam. My mom was like... to boarding school then. So I went to boarding school of the same school, and it was different because my high school was a mixed school. It wasn't only girls, which I enjoyed. So I wanted to learn about different things. It was easy for me to connect quickly with boys and be my bros that, so that was different. I really enjoyed it. I met my best friends there.
What's the name of the school? Do you mind sharing for any Rwandans that listen?
Yeah, so my middle school was Fawe Girls School. My high school was Lycée de Kigali.
Yes, that's true. I forgot to add. You speak 3 languages. You guys, I am in the presence of a super being. Yes, tell us Kinyarwanda, Français, and Anglais.
Yes.
Oui.
Who speaks French?
Je parle un peu. Oui. Okay, with the R. Yes.
Yeah. So at home in my family we speak Kinyarwanda, which everybody understands Kinyarwanda in Rwanda, and then my second language is French. So all of my middle school, my elementary school was...
And look how good your English is. So you learned math in French?
I did.
Jesus Christ.
In nursery school and elementary school, everything was in French. English was just like a subject. And then...
That's funny.
I know, the education system in Rwanda changed in 2008.
Okay.
Everything became in English. I was like...
Wow.
Can you believe studying biology in English for the first time? Hey,
wow, I can imagine. You guys must be super smart. Honestly, it takes a lot to do that. So what made you finally come to the US? And why did you come in at 20, not 18 or, younger?
Yeah, good question. I've always wanted to come to the US. I think it's because I grew up watching American movies, watching...
I can relate to that.
I wanted that experience, but I also knew that I wanted to go into tech, and I was like... tech in the US is definitely gonna be more advanced than the one in Rwanda. So I finished high school at 18, but our school at the time was from January to November. So it's not like until May that I can start school in September. Even the following year, I was accepted to a competitive program organization called SHECAN. And when I was selected, we started learning TOEFL exam, ACTO. Those were like dark moments. It was hard, standardized test. I don't shout out to you. It was tough.
Yeah.
And then once I was accepted through the whole year when I was preparing for interviews, that's when I got to go again the following year. So I finished high school in 2014, but I started school in 2016. So I pretty much had like almost 2 years of a gap year.
Yeah, I see.
The things you have to go through.
And I know that you said all the schools you applied to, I think you got into, right? Or was that's for grads. Okay, let me not skip up to that. So I know you said here you studied computer science. Do you want to shout out to your undergrad college and all that?
Yes, and shout out to Muhlenberg College in Allentown, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Over involved in that school.
I know.
I was in everything. I was a tour guide during the summertime. I was a campus delegate. I was working in the information technology office as a student help desk, lab associate.
And you still graduated summa cum laude or what? Magna cum laude? Yes. Oh my God! So how did you do? How did you? And magna cum laude is what 3.7 to 3.7. So yeah. So how were you able to like juggle all of that? Even being so involved, because that affected me during my undergrad. Yeah. By the way, I went to Cornell University, since I'm also a guest-ish on this show.
Which university did you go to?
I finished from Cornell University. Shout out to all the Eagles. I studied chemical engineering. You know, nothing techy of that sort, but yeah.
That's all tech, girl.
But look at us now.
Hey.
But okay. Okay, as you were sorry. Okay, continue. So yeah.
No, it's you.
No, I'm done. Yeah, I went to Cornell University. I studied chemical engineering. Yada. I was also very involved in school on academic platforms, religious platforms, social platforms. So yeah, I was that girl in all those committees that plan university-wide events, you know, smaller scale events and all of that. But sometimes my academics did suffer for that, especially for classes again that I did not like. We'll be onto chemical engineering, reaction, kinetics, or I don't even remember the name of the class now. But yeah, that was my worst class. God saved me from an F. I had a D, and I've never been more prouder to say that or to have that kind of grade. I really did think I was going to fail. But anyway, look at us now. That's my new slogan. Look at me now.
Look at me now.
If I knew that God had already sorted me out.
You asked a good question, like how was I able to juggle that? I think you know me by now. I value excellence in everything that I do. So in school, I knew I had a goal of having 3.5 and above every semester.
Oh, I see.
And at school, it was called being on the dean's list. So that was my goal.
Nice.
And then also because I love people and I love to be involved and to do different things, I also was like, I have to also be excellent in those areas. Yeah. So I didn't let one overshadow the other one. So I had to move them at the same time. And also just being self-aware of, okay, what can I say no to and not feel guilty about it? Some events I didn't have to go. I felt fine.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm going to be studying. Or some other things I was like, no. Yeah. Homework can wait. Yeah. But at the same time, I make sure I don't submit it late.
Yeah. I think that makes sense. You know, funny enough, we have very similar personalities. And people who know me that think I have energy. So I think there are two different types of people too. Like for me and you, I think for you, you're always on a high. I remember I always used to ask you, are you ever sad? Are you ever angry? Please, can you be angry for once? So because every time Grace comes, I'm like, okay, get ready for Grace's energy now. She's about to come here and her light's about to fill this room. Can you take it? Because I think I've shared on this podcast too how my time at Cornell was some of the darkest time of my life and the saddest time of my life. Where you were that constant joy and light. Even a lot of times I refused it. And sometimes Grace to tell me, you're giving me dismissive vibes. I'm like, yes, Grace, I want to be quiet. I want to be at peace. Please don't be shouting now.
But she'll be like, why are you shouting?
I know. I'm always telling her, why are you shouting? You know? And I'm sure she probably thought I was being offensive, but I'm learning to. I used to tell her that I think it's because the joy of the Lord is truly in you. And also, it's also a thing. I say that for my Ghanaian friends, and sometimes I wish I had the spirit of, Ghanaians and East Africans where they're so laid back. You guys choose peace every day. The average Nigerian chooses violence, everything, You don't step on my toes and I won't step on yours, Even though I'm not that kind of like crazy person, but there are times where my blood is definitely hot and I want to like give you back, your own medicine. But anyway, I said that to say, what did I say that to say now? Okay, I said that to say that also my experience in undergrad too, I wish I knew how to handle both things better. Like to me, every time I chose an event over my academics, I told myself, academics don't last. But like, if I go for these things, these are experiences. So that's why a lot of people didn't enjoy their time while they were in Cornell University. Some people might beg to differ, but I did. Like, to me, my undergrad experience was the most wholesome experience of my life. I grew into myself, I found myself, and became the Tolu I am today just because I allowed myself immersed in the environment of Cornell University. And that's why I'm first an eagle before a Cornelian. Like, please, if you see me on the road, don't address me as Cornelian. I'm first an eagle before a Cornelian. So it's a thing to call graduates of my school eagles anyway, because we fly high and we fly high and, But anyway... Okay. It's not offense to that Nigerian universities. Oh my god. But anyway, so I'm happy that you had that control over your time and that also reflects even when we were in grad school, You
can get to see it.
Yeah. So because you're even also so active in church. Yeah. Did you ever miss a Sunday? I don't think. Did you ever?
I don't believe so. There is one day that I was actually sick.
Yeah. Oh.
And then another Sunday, we're being transparent here. Another Sunday. I think I had to wake up so early and I overslept. For some reason, I did not hear my alarm. Church that time started at 10 or 9. I think I woke up like 10:30.
Me, the days I don't go to church, I already know the night before that. I even know from Friday that I'm not going. And I remember the day I think I missed service like just 3 times. And Pastor Chad was like, "Did you travel? Welcome back." I'm like, "No, I was just away for 3 weeks. Please, I did not travel." But anyway, so that brings us to our grad school journey. Yes. So for you, what was that like? Please tell us. I know you applied to 50 schools, you got into all of them. Tell us about the funding.
I will also say one more thing about my undergrad. Was also on a full scholarship, which I thank the Lord for, like so much for, because schools here in the US are expensive.
Tell me about it.
So for grad school, I'm taking you back to fall 2019, my first semester of senior year. I knew that I may have wanted to work after graduation, but at the same time I was like, at some point, I want to do a master's degree. So I started applying in the fall. I was like, let me see. But prior to that summer, everybody, when you do computer science, is like, okay, you're gonna go into software engineering. I knew that's not where my heart was at all. I had to seek God about it. I was like, Lord, let's be clear. I don't feel like I want to do software engineering until you tell me this is exactly what I want to do. But unless I don't hear anything from you, I need to know what program should I do. And this is also to encourage people. Sometimes you feel like you should do what other people do because that's what's already known. No, if you don't feel comfortable, if you don't feel like you know what you're doing, go to the Lord about it. He really will reveal himself. I remember crying all night, like every day, be like, God, time is running over the clock. Am I going to do software engineering or what? And I remember I was on Google. I don't even know how engineering management popped on Google search. I was like, engineering management. It was my first time hearing that. I said, hold up, let me see. I sat to Google for straight like 6 hours reading about that program. And the Lord was confirming, this is what you have to study. And you know me, I love technology and I love leadership. So I was like, this is it. So I was like, I'm not going to be afraid of schools if it's an Ivy or not. If they have that program, I'm applying. So I applied to 11 universities in the US.
Let's begin to list it. So number 1. What's the first one?
I applied to Cornell. I applied to Northeastern. I applied to Carnegie Mellon. I applied to Drexel. I applied to Penn State. I applied to University of Notre Dame. I applied to University of Washington, St. Louis. I applied to... Did I say Penn State?
Yeah, you said that already.
I said Penn State. I applied to... oh my gosh, I am forgetting. I applied to Stevens Institute in New Jersey.
That's 8.
Applied to... I applied to also one other university in the UK, University of Edinburgh.
Nice.
I applied to Tufts.
Oh, Boston.
Yes.
10.
I applied to a university called Lawrence Technology University.
Where is that?
Oh my gosh, where is that? If you remember, trust me.
But look at you now.
Look at me now.
We don't care. Wait, did you do this for all the programs for engineering management in these 11 schools?
Yes. So the majority was engineering management, and if it wasn't specifically called engineering management, it was something close to it.
Management
so,
science,
management, information system management.
And you got into all 11.
I did.
Shut up! Wow.
I did.
Wow.
The one at Carnegie Mellon, I think it was called software management or something. Yeah, but it was all of the one at Notre Dame. It was called, I think, like a STEAM program, engineering, science, technology, and management. And I was like, that, yeah, I'm a
So
fly.
how did you make the decision? Why Cornell? Why did you choose Cornell?
To be honest, I started, if we're being honest, I started with the schools that didn't. Oh, and the last one is Syracuse University. So that's
okay.
I started with the schools that were not giving me any financial aid. I was like, okay, you know what?
Bye. Boy, bye.
Boy, bye.
We're like... So which ones gave you funding?
The ones that did not give me funding, like Northeastern was already out. I was like, you're not going to give me any financial aid, Abby. No. And I started just narrowing down.
But what of the application fees too? Did you get that waived? Did you get this waived?
So that one is another testimony. So I applied to a program called GEM Fellowship, GEM, General Consortium something. And I really wanted to get a scholarship from them because if you get a scholarship through a school, you get a full scholarship. But because I was already a GEM applicant, I was able to get many applications waived. I was like, yeah, that's an opportunity. I'm gonna grab it.
I see.
But some of the universities were not waiving it. So here's something I'm going to tell some people who are applying.
Please do.
If you see a school that is really pushing forward to application fees, find an email, send an email and say, hey, I was wondering if the application fee can be waived. Trust me, you're one of the 0.something students who will send that email, and the high chance is going to be, yes, they're waiving it, and they will send you a code.
Exactly. That's what happened to me with Cornell. If I can chip in too, like I wrote this whole email, then I was doing youth service, like we call it in Nigeria, and how much was my salary? Plus NYC fee plus how much do I pay me? So let's say I was taking home like 95K per month. Yes, I converted that to dollars, and I'm sure that was I can't remember maybe the exchange rate was 360 at that time. And then I was like, I currently earn below minimum wage of their own country. I was very honest. I told them why I wanted to do the program and why the application fee of $115 or so was so much. And I applied. And then in less than 2 days, 48 hours, I got the response that this has been waived. Use this code when applying.
Yeah,
Bam. Even my Stanford that I didn't get into. So by the way, for most of you that don't know, Stanford was my dream school. And eventually CNN became my dream company. But we'll go to that. We'll get to that eventually. And I had to write 3 essays to get my fee waived. And I did it. Like, I was ready to go the whole mile. Because $125 now, when we look at it now, it might have been nothing. I mean, we use that to buy groceries.
Are you not rich?
Are we not rich now?
Are we not rich?
Can we not afford it? Sorry, this is inside joke between me and Grace. So now, but back then that was a lot of money, and I never even wanted to take that to my parents. I need $125 yet again.
That's a lot of money.
So definitely always look exactly. So definitely always look into applying fee waivers.
Yes, just send an email. Don't Don't fail to try. Try and fail.
Okay, that's. In Nigeria, we call that an aspire to perspire statement, but it's okay. No. What's the original quote? Those who fail to plan to fail. I think that's what you're trying to say. Those who fail to plan are planning to fail.
Hey.
Never mind. Those that understand.
It's try and fail, but never fail to try.
Something like that.
But yeah, honestly, if you're listening to this and you are wondering about like graduation application fees or even undergrad, just find an email from the school and ask. They may even at least give you some discount, because for me, every school was around like $35. If you multiply that to 12, I would have been bankrupt. But exactly. No, honestly, ask them for fee waivers.
Yeah. And so we're going to wrap this up very soon as part 1. of this story.
Yes.
So yeah, guys, sorry, the story is long. So before we round up for this episode, part 1 of this episode, so do you want to talk about your Cornell funding as well? So I know both of us got that. I think, are we the only black people? First of all, I think in our batch, we were the only black people coming in from outside. Because but Cornell undergrads who were converting to a master's degree, I think when I came in fall 2020, there were 3 of them, so we're 4. Then the next semester, I think I was the only black person. So that's in spring of 2021. You came in fall 2021. Then we were, me, you, and Joe were the other girl. Shout out to you, Jashia, our African-American sister from Brooklyn, Joestar. And then we met Maxine and I. So we became 5 black girls. And, you know, let's just shout them out.
And Black King Shamar.
Yes, we have Black King Shamar, you know, and Isabel, and every other person who, like undergrads at Cornell, who converted to do the engineering management program. Yes. By the way, I think I've shared why I decided to do an engineering management program. So I had a stint at an oil and gas company. In short, all along, I was training to end up in the oil and gas industry in Nigeria. But eventually, after my NYCA, I think I got frustrated that is this what I'm going to be doing? That I don't think any amount of money. So we call all money blood money in Nigeria because the money, they are really well paid, you know, annually, one of the highest paid industry in my country back then. Yeah. And I was like, I know this is what I've been training for, but it was such a boring job. A lot of administrative, I was in operations, you know, and all that, planning and all that. I mean, some days are good, but some days were just bad. I'm like, I don't think it's what I want to do for a long time. And I used to work with a lot much older people than younger people. And I used to have a lot of friends then at KPMG, which is a big 4 finance firm. And I was like, I think I want to switch to KPMG. And, you know, people said the experience, if you got experience there, it was solid and all of that. But eventually I started looking into my master's. I've shared this story before, how there was a woman at my company in HSC who was leaving the company to another place. And I had just joined the company at that time. And I was like, wow, I really like this woman. Let me go and ask her before she leaves what was one advice she had for me. You know, me, I was there thinking I was in oil and gas for the next 35 years till I resign. And then I remember going to her desk that day that, Miss so and so, I know you, I can't believe you're leaving. I was just already looking up to you after I joined the company because she onboarded me safety-wise, which is a big thing in oil and gas. And she told me, go get a master's. Out of the blue. Me, that I was so sure I was not going to get a master's. My sister had done a master's, but I was like, I don't think it's for me. I want to stay back and work. And she just told me, go get a master's, no matter what you do. I'm 37 now, and I regret not getting a master's. I see my mates that have gone ahead of me, this, that. And usually, I'm not one to take advice immediately. Like, I'm a very teachable person, but I know what I want to do. Like, I will just take your advice and keep it to my left hand and see, okay, does it work for me or not? But that day, it really got me thinking that, this woman felt so deep about it. And I really don't know what took me upstairs to her office today to ask for this advice. And that was how I started exploring master's options. And I decided to do engineering management because, like you said, it was a merge between leadership and technology as well. Not like I knew what the tech industry was going to be or anything, but, you know, just going through it, I was like, I can definitely do this. I still get to exercise my leadership personalities, blah, blah, blah. So that's how I got into engineering management anyway. And for those of you who might want to know how I got into Cornell, I have a whole episode on that, of how I got into Cornell. What were we talking about before this segue now? I've forgotten. Maybe we entered the engineering management.
We were talking about the application.
Yes, how we apply to schools.
So you were going to ask me about the financial aid.
Yes, exactly. So we're shouting out our black friends. Yes. Let's finish shouting them out before we end this episode. So, by the way, Joe got into UBS. Yes. That's the very big investment bank. So now we have an investment banker amongst the black people. We call ourselves black queens and kings. So that's for Joe. 2, we have Maxine. Shout out to her, who is a software engineer at Facebook and Meta now. And then we have another software engineer at Twitter. Then you have Grace. At McKinsey, the MBB, you know, the big, like, I mean, okay, no, let me not offend people at BCG and Bing, please. But those that know what I'm saying. We're happy, exactly. And I
have to know.
Yes.
At Google.
Yes. So those are, and I'm really proud. In fact, exactly. And, you know, and the other 2 girls who I met before I met you guys, Chloe and Barbara. Chloe is also at Meta. She's an RPM at Meta, rotational program. I think product manager also at Meta. And my other friend Barbara is at Accenture. So the black girls out here winning. I love to see it. We love to see exactly. So let's go back to our funding.
So funding. When I came to Cornell, I received a half scholarship, so I did not have a full scholarship. And when I came to Cornell, I was like, you know what? My goal is to just get that inside news. Because I feel like every school has internal scholarships that the outside doesn't know.
No,
so
definitely.
I was like, that's how I'm going to get this one. So I started talking to Tolu. And hey, Tolu, I like this and this. I'm looking for additional scholarship. And this girl, my girl, she was like, Grace, you got to know about this scholarship. I say, let me sit down and listen. Yeah. The day she told me about the IAD scholarship is the same day I went to talk to the program.
Of course, as you should.
I was like,
yes,
when can we talk? And she was like, yeah, maybe you can send me an email. I was like, no, I want to book something on your calendar.
No.
Yeah, so, and then later it was a lot of back and forth emailing because, of course, the program coordinator is not in charge of that scholarship. So she was kind of like acting like the middleman between me and the IAD scholarship. And then I continued to follow up. And let me use this time maybe to advise a few people. Sometimes you send emails about something that you really want and you're not getting any feedback or you're not getting follow-ups. But please set an alarm on your phone. Every week, same time. 7 days, every 7 days, every 7 days. That's how I do it so that you keep in the loop of checking in. When they say we'll give you an update, 7 days is a good time to check in again. And later I received that scholarship that I was able to cover for my spring semester. So shout out to Tolulope, Olukanmi.
Oh wow, my full government name. Please shout out to God. God,
No, but shout out to him. Yes. Of course, he knows my heart is up to him. But
Definitely.
If he didn't talk to me about that scholarship, I would not have gotten it.
And I do feel you on that. One of my favorite quotes too is information is power. And this is something my mom used to ring into my head every day. That if you have information, like is the like how do I say this? I want to say it so it sounds very grandiose. Like information can take you from the least level to the highest level.
From 0 to 100.
Honestly, like seriously, because sometimes it's not that people just think, these things are not available. Sometimes you don't even need to be qualified. You just need to be there. Like also, you even forgot to talk about the diversity scholarship we got upon admission.
Yeah.
So they have. So our total cost of admission was about $83,000.
Like 63, just tuition.
Yeah, just tuition, yes, about 60.
And then adding on living, it was like 85.
Yes, and we got 35,000 off initially after admission, and they'll tell you merit and all. And that's what I said in my previous episode. I think I talked about this, that yes, a lot of these things might be affirmative action, whatever, but if still you were not even qualified, you won't even be considered still for the affirmative action that allows that minorities are considered for everything, blah, blah, blah. I don't even care. Please let me be a minority. Yes. If this is the reason why I've come to this world as black, so that they will be favoring me in everything, I don't even care. Anything you want to come, if like come with diversity higher, diversity and admission, whatever, that's your business. But look at us now. It's easy to be black. It's easy. If you can be black, please be black. Anyway, oh God, I hope this doesn't come off wrong. But anyway, I said that to say that. So after even getting that, then I came into the school, like you said, and I heard that. So I did the 3-semester program. You did the 2-semester because I wanted the internship. Blah 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 blah. I've shared this before, and then I heard that the Institute of African Development in Cornell would give African students, that is African students who had African students. So you only had one passport. So of course I had Nigerian passport. Grace had a random passport. No other US passport.
Card,
no, exactly. And that they would waive your tuition. So they would tell your college to pay up the tuition based on your degree and all that. Then, and the time I applied, that was when I had my worst grades during spring semester. I remember even being scared that, Jesus Christ, with this C+ with 4 units on my grade, can I qualify? I didn't care, I applied. I remember, and like you said, it was also back and forth because they had discontinued that scholarship for the whole of 2020. Yeah. No, not even for 10 years, for 2020 because of COVID. And I had kept applying. Like I did not give up. Perseverance. That is a life core value to have. Perseverance and persistence. I was like, that 30,000. What does it cost me? Email? I will email you. Because as I will follow up. If what's that? There's nothing there. We were on top free Wi-Fi. I will do it. Trust me. And then I remember the first time I eventually met the woman who was in charge of disbursing this fund. She told me, so you are the persistent girl. Wow. Like, so and then she said, the College of Engineering has even stopped giving waivers. They used to stop sending waivers to them because they refused to pay. That she's so surprised they did it for me. I say, my God doesn't wear flip-flop. But anyway, So that's how we got it. So we said that to say that, like, always be on the lookout for these things. Like, they exist. They do exist. And that's why you should also have friends. Like, be open. Don't hide. Don't be hoarding information.
And this is something that I've also like seen in the US. Sometimes people just don't want to share information.
Let's never go into that, please, because if I really show my true self on this podcast, let's not come and say that I'm giving hate speech. Anyway, and then of course I told Grace, I shared it with every black person in my program. They are giving IAD funding, they will waive your tuition. Go and find out, and that's how Grace too got hers waived. Yes. And now we have no loans or debt, upon graduation. No. And we're so excited.
Are you ready to work?
Yes. And then even the 5 of us are 5 African sisters, so we're also another 5 group of friends. None of us, even from the law school.
Shout out to
Abna, Beryl,
you and I.
Yes. No loans. So please always be on the lookout. So this brings us to the end of part 1. So now we're going into the main reason why we are recording this episode. Our job hunting stories. How did we get here? What jobs did we apply for? Yeah. So that's going to be all in part 2. Please make sure to check it out. If you enjoyed this one, let us know on Instagram. Let us know and everywhere. Grace, where can they find you if they need to reach out to you?
Thank you, Tolu. They can find me on Instagram. So I use @GraciousGrace. Mm-hmm. And on Facebook is my full name, Grace Imanariyo. If people want to connect more professionally, I'm also on LinkedIn.
Yes.
Imanariyo, you will find me.
Yeah.
And I believe Tolu will tag me so you can find my links.
Exactly. And guys,
my music is on YouTube.
Yeah. Wait, hold on. I'm gonna share that now, and I was gonna say that. Please don't miss part 2 because I'm going to ask her to sing a line from her chorus of her newest single, of her busting single. That's 7,000 views. So please make sure to check out part 2. Guys, I'm sorry if this episode is everywhere. I mean, hello, I'm interviewing with my friend, my sister. Yes. So it's like, yeah, we have every and anything to talk about. Anyway, let me not take much longer of your time. Thank you guys for listening, and we will see you in part 2. And remember, if we can do it, you can do it too. See you guys. Bye.